Every single person, sooner or later, collides with this absolute nightmare. Someone attempts to publicly strike you down and expose you as a nobody right in front of your colleagues, friends, or family. In that exact second, the room freezes. Everyone looks at you, and your brain turns to pure white noise from the shock. Most people commit a fatal mistake here. They either start screaming back, or they shamefully swallow the insult, forcing a fake smile. But right now, you are going to receive a bone-chilling psychological blueprint that will permanently make any manipulator regret he ever opened his mouth in your direction. When someone attempts to publicly strike you down, your brain instantly decodes it as a mortal threat to your status. It seems to you that the attacker is strong, dangerous, and delivering a precise personal blow. But this is the ultimate illusion they catch you with. Cold-blooded behavioral psychology proves the exact opposite. Public aggression has absolutely nothing to do with you. Imagine a tiny, terrified dog barking maniacally at passersby from behind a fence. Did those people do something bad to it? No. It barks solely because an absolute, suffocating animal fear sits deep within it. A person trying to assert themselves at your expense in front of a crowd is constructed exactly the same way. Their venom and sharp jabs are not a sign of strength, but a desperate cry of a defective, deeply traumatized self-esteem. They physically crave a surrogate of power, if only for a couple of seconds, just to drown out their own mental worthlessness. Once you realize this, their attack ceases to be a blow. It becomes a pathetic demonstration of weakness, which you can now look down upon from above. The ultimate mistake most people make at the exact moment of a verbal attack is an instant, automatic reaction. The aggressor lights his little fire and expects a very specific fuel from you. Either your furious screaming or your terrified, shameful silence. If you start shouting and justifying yourself, you lose because you lost control. If you shrink back and force a smile, you also lose because you exposed your vulnerability. Your ultimate weapon is the concept of the silent second. When an insult flies in your direction, you do absolutely nothing. You freeze. Calmly, cold-bloodedly, without a shred of emotion on your face, you look the aggressor straight in the eyes and slowly blink. This bone-chilling pause completely shatters the manipulator's script. He expected panic, but collided with a dead concrete wall. You strip him of his emotional fuel, and now he is left standing in the middle of the room in absolute silence, alone with his own stupidity. The pause redirects the tension right back at him, forcing the entire room to feel discomfort, not from your weakness, but from his misplaced audacity. The most powerful move at this exact moment is to physically stop being the target. The aggressor has constructed a stage where only two people exist, him in the role of the executioner and you in the role of the victim. Your task is to instantly change the scenery and drag the entire room into this game, turning the crowd into your ally. Following the dead pause, you smoothly, without a hint of hurry, shift your gaze from the attacker to the people around you. Your face must express a faint, genuine bewilderment, as if you are a scientist observing the bizarre behavior of a defective specimen. You can calmly say one simple phrase. That sounded incredibly strange just now, don't you think? Or did anyone else catch what that was supposed to mean? If you don't feel like speaking, simply roll your eyes slowly across the faces of the audience with an unbothered expression. At this microsecond, the focus of the room shifts. People are no longer watching you writhe in offense. Now, they themselves are forced to evaluate the attacker's toxicity. You transform in a heartbeat from a defenseless victim into a cold-blooded director of the situation, while the attacker finds himself trapped in his own public shame under the crosshairs of dozens of judging eyes. Sometimes, the situation demands a brutal verbal response to show those around you. You have teeth, but these must not be the fangs of a rabid dog. Instead, it must be the bone-chilling grin of a person completely secure in their own power. This is where the rule of the 3 no's comes into play. No high pitches, no long speeches, and no counter-insults.
When a man raises his voice and breaks into a falsetto, he automatically looks like a loser who has completely lost control. Your voice must sound as low, calm, and even quiet as humanly possible, so that the people in the room have to consciously lean in your direction just to catch the words. Forget about long tirades and justifications. Lengthy explanations always look like an attempt to defend oneself, which means weakness. Your response is 1 or 2 short, streamlined phrases that hit like a concrete slab.
If they try to sting you over a past failure, you calmly cut it down. Yes, I made mistakes, but now I know exactly what not to do. If they mock your goals, that's normal. Not everyone is capable of understanding my trajectory. You do not attack back. You do not try to wound the opponent. You simply stand like a mountain. Your monolithic piece broadcasts an absolute authority to the room, after which continuing the attack becomes utterly foolish and meaningless. Within the social hierarchy of any group, people never attack blindly. Toxic manipulators and covert aggressors always conduct a hidden test first. They probe your boundaries, first dropping a light, subtle jab, then watching your reaction. And if you swallow it or get scared, the next strike will be exponentially harder, leading all the way to total public humiliation. They behave this way only because a long time ago, you yourself taught them that targeting you is entirely safe and unpunished. Handling attacks through cold-blooded poise, a dead pause, and seizing control of the room is not just a way to survive a specific second. It is a radical rewriting of the rules of the game. At the exact moment when, instead of expected panic or loud marketplace bickering, you demonstrate an icy mental control. You instantly die to them as an easy target. You shatter their familiar patterns. Those around you, even if they stay silent during the second of conflict, will subconsciously register your total superiority and strength of character. In the final analysis, any public attack is merely someone else's attempt to impose their rules of the game on you. Male dignity cannot be stripped away or destroyed by a targeted strike from the outside. It can only be surrendered by yourself. Your mind is a powerful processor, and your emotions are its programming code. The aggressor desperately tries to press your buttons, provoking you into panic, screaming, or shame. But as long as you yourself cold-bloodedly hold the remote control in your own hands, any external strike flies straight into a void. Your power is measured not by how many counter-strikes you delivered in response, but by how true to yourself and immovable you remained while everything around you cracked at the seams. You alone define your own worth. And this internal monolith is something not a single manipulator in the entire world has the power to destroy. If this brutal psychological breakdown gave you a clear understanding of how to protect your boundaries, subscribe to the channel and smash that notification bell so you never miss new episodes. Drop a comment below. Which of these techniques will you deploy first when you find yourself under intense pressure? I will see you in the next video.